get up, get up, get up.
What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to episode number 104 of the Mets Up Podcast, the official podcast of the New York Mets. Just wrapped up a 3-game series out in beautiful, sunny Miami, where the Mets win the series. A little bit of a, I don't want to say a stinker at the end, but
bittersweet,
because the Mets win the series, but the end of the series left a little bit of a bitter taste in our mouth. So we're going to talk about everything that happened out in Miami, as well as all the storylines going on in the Mets world in today's episode of the Mets Up Podcast. So if you guys are not yet following us, make sure you do on all our social media at Mets Up. You'll be able to see all the content that we're posting over there. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, wherever you get your podcasts, you'll be able to find ours. Drop us a rating, drop us a review. It really does help us out. Without further ado, on a fairly quick intro, James, how you doing, man? Welcome back.
Good, man. Happy to be here. Hello. Long weekend. A lot of traveling today. Very excited to be recording.
Yeah, you came from Westfield all the way to Brooklyn.
Yep.
In an Uber.
Yeah, and then hopped on my bike in Brooklyn and rode up to Astoria for the show. But shout out my little sister, Julia. Graduation party yesterday. Hell of a time by everybody except her. Had a little too much to drink. Also shout out her friends from Michigan who are big fans of the Messed Up Podcast. Jill, birthday on Monday. Shout you out, Jill. And shout out Tasha. If anyone follows me on Instagram, Tasha is an incredible artist, and my parents are redoing their kitchen. So once everyone had a few drinks, they were like, let's screw up the cabinets. Yeah. My mom took out a pack of Sharpies, and everyone was drawing things, like a little message to my sister, like funny stuff. And we thought my dad was maybe going to get mad because he was still outside talking with a friend. So I'm like, how can we make my dad as least mad as possible? And I was like, Tasha, draw a picture of the ball going through Billy Buckner's legs on my cabinet, and with a black Sharpie, she drew it like to a T perfectly. Incredible. Check it out on my Instagram.
Yeah, you got to post it on the Mets Up Instagram.
Yeah, I do. I should. Yeah, you're right.
Throw a picture up there. So yeah, I mean, relatively good weekend for everybody.
Everybody's
weekend. Happy.
Yeah, fun weekend. Good times. Mets also like good, but like less good than it could have been good.
It could have been sick.
Could have been amazing.
Could have been an amazing weekend if we ended up getting that sweep. But of course, we have to start off with Game 1, which was probably the game that everybody, us included, had circled as the one that if you are going to lose a game to the Marlins, it would be this one. Because, yeah, we're going up against possible Cy Young Award winner this year, Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah, and this is the one we ended the last episode with saying, like, I don't feel that good about it. You kind of think that this could be that first time this year the Mets lose their third straight game, which is ridiculous to say with July on the calendar next week.
I mean, the Mets are 20 games above 500, right? So, I mean, like, they're just a good team. But yeah, losing 3 games in a row, I mean, the Dodgers lost 3 in a row, the Pirates at home. It happens in a baseball season, not yet to the Mets.
Not yet to the Mets. But again, this was the one, if it was going to happen, it was going to be this. But the tone was kind of set right away in the first inning because with 2 out and nobody on, Sandy got Nimmo and Marte out on 5 pitches. That's the other crazy thing about facing Sandy. Like, even though you can't really hit him, it's almost impossible to bring his pitch count up. Our friend Meek Phil actually tweeted this because he keeps everything so on the zone so consistently. And it's not even like he's in the zone, like he's filling up the zone. He just lives on those edges with 98 with movement, and it's unbelievable. But Marte and Nimmo got out, 5 pitches, first 2 outs of the game. Francisco Lindor comes up, down 1-2, works the count all the way back, full-on 8-pitch at-bat, and on that 8th pitch, laces a home run over the center field wall to make it 1-0.
Off a 99-mile-an-hour sinker, which is the fastest pitch Lindor has hit a home run off of in his Major League career. Fun stat. Shout out to John, the producer, for getting us that awesome stat. This other thing that I thought was interesting, too, was that Lindor's home run, even though it's to center field in Marlins Park or Lone Depot Field, what's it called?
I think Lone Depot.
Lone Depot Field, whatever it's called. Everyone thinks about it as a hitter's... or
lowercase L, too.
Lowercase L. Everyone thinks of it as a pitcher's park. My bad, not a hitter's park. Definitely a pitcher's park. But that home run by Lindor was only a home run in Lone Depot Park, or whatever it's called. Nowhere else, which I thought was a super interesting stat.
Because it was low?
It was low, and it was to center field, and I think it was just kind of to a perfect spot where it was short in Lone Depot, and every other stadium it would not have gone out. So
that's bizarre.
Weird home run, but hey, we take it there in the first inning, jumping on Sandy Alcantara, and Lindor swinging the bat well again.
Yes, he also missed first base, which is a pretty funny moment. He had to like jog back, kind of laughing, like having fun. That was a good moment.
Yeah, thank goodness he did go back and touch it.
Yeah, that would have been, oh my God.
The last thing we needed is Francisco Lindor to miss first base on a home run when the Mets are like losing 2 games in a row before that.
In terms of this game, like in that situation, Sandy on the mound and just the Lindorks having more ammo.
Yeah, no, we don't need to give them any more ammo. But hey, home run out to an early lead. But then the Marlins just kind of scratched right back.
Marlins, you said last week, king of the bloops.
They are so annoying. I tweeted out last week that I'm tired of playing them already, and those were our first 3 games. I still am tired of playing this Marlins team. They don't particularly play good baseball, but they are so annoying, whether it's John Birdie
It's
or
not
Garrett.
that bad of baseball. They have a decent. They have
No, they have good players.
Yeah.
But their baseball quality, they have almost no fundamentals. I would
don't
be an
know.
old man on the hill here.
That's a hard line to draw. I don't know how you can quantify that, but
these games.
Yeah, Garrett Cooper also kind of doesn't have our number. He's a good hitter. He's
Yes.
someone who's going to probably be on the move at the trade deadline, someone who could be a fun addition to any team who needs offense. He got a bloop RBI single, but the Mets came right back. Marky Cheerios, our boy, Mark Hanna, solo home run again off of Sandy, put the Mets back out in front.
Yeah, no, was really excited to see Mark Canha hit that home run. Didn't play him in fantasy this week, so that's on me. It was a bad week. I didn't play Christian Javier either.
Rough.
Obviously, he basically threw a no-hitter, but Mark Canha, Marky Cheerios, he's there for you. He's reliable. There is a reason we gave him that nickname. The dude just comes up clutch yet again for this team.
Yeah, but again, right back the following half inning. Yeah, bottom of the 5th. The Marlins scratched another one back against Taijuan Walker. John Birdie hit a single, and then Jazz Chisholm hit a single to Starling Marte in right field. Birdie, being the little speed demon gremlin that he is, rounds that bag hard, goes right to third base. Starling Marte, probably half of being like, I want to get this out, the other half being like, I want to get this guy out.
Yeah.
Wound up for a big-time throw at Eduardo Escobar. Got there in a hop or two. Eduardo Escobar caught it at the bag. Still tried for a tag, even though Birdie beat it. Allowed Jazz Chisholm to reach second base on that play, which at the time made me incredibly nervous.
And also ended up being a kind of extremely important play in the game, despite it not really being as important as it looked on the field, because Jazz pulled up a little bit lame, and we ended up finding out he tweaked his back a little bit.
I think it said spasms.
Spasms. Okay, he had some spasms in his back, and he ends up leaving the game in the next inning, which we'll get to here in a second. Obviously, they did end up scoring a run here. Jorge Soler hit an RBI, ground ball, right? Hard ground ball.
Yeah, and it did turn out to just be good work by Taijuan Walker to get out of that inning, only allowing the one, because I believe it was second and third, and either one out or none out.
Yeah, no, and Taijuan got out of it. And Taijuan was great again, which I know you're going to dive deep into.
Yeah, we'll do a Taijuan talk, but we have to talk about the top of the 6th inning, because Mets fans, this was one of the craziest Mets innings, not only this year, but that we've seen in recent Mets memory. It's a team with a lot of crazy innings.
It was absolutely insane. The fact that I've weirdly had this situation happen with Buck Showalter before, where I've been watching a game. I was watching a game when he was managing the Orioles, and I was talking to my dad, and I was like, what if a runner slides in the middle of the baseline on a double play? That's it. You're sliding towards second base. You can't really tell the guy when he isn't doing that, and that's exactly what happened in this inning.
And did you hear yesterday they were actually talking either with Buck or with Nimmo about that? I don't remember who.
This is a Buck Showalter thing.
Well, saying in the spring training they teach this play because it's kind of the only option you can do to almost even confuse an infielder and try and get your guy running down the line to first an extra half a second to beat it out. Not even considering the other hoopla that would happen around what actually happened. But talk about this inning specifically. Mark mentioned Jazz is out of the game. Willians Astudillo, everybody's favorite short pudgy backup catcher, utility man, actually comes in the game, second baseman.
Technically actually came in at third.
Yeah,
Luke Williams went to second,
this
and then
way.
they flopped him on the next play, which, bizarre.
That was really weird. And then at this moment, I texted Mark, this game is zipping.
And I was not happy.
He's saying a game is fast doesn't have anything to do with the outcome of it, but that was 8:12 p.m., and we had gone through 5 innings in 85 minutes. The game was zipping.
The game was zipping by. It's the kiss of death, especially for me as a high school former baseball player. I'll make that very clear, because my baseball playing days ended after high school. But that's you never see the games going by quick, because as soon as you do, something crazy starts to happen, and literally within seconds of you sending that text, everything went crazy.
It's like they threw molasses all over Lone Depot Park. But Tomas Nido with a hard ground ball up the middle off of Sandy that just wasn't able to be gotten to, got a single, which again, Tomas Nido, while no one's going to confuse Tomas Nido with Alejandro Kirk or Wilson Contreras as an elite offensive catcher, but he finds ways to get on base at seemingly critical moments. Then Nimmo bunted the ball down the line, wound up with a base hit out of it. I don't know if that was the intention or if they were just trying to play small ball against one of the best pitchers in baseball, but I think Nimmo had hit in his mind the whole way down the line. Ball just couldn't be fielded cleanly by, again, Luke Williams, who is not much of a third baseman. I don't even think he is a third baseman.
He's really an outfielder.
Yeah, by trade. So now we have first and second, nobody on. First and second, nobody out for Starling Marte, who hits a dribbler to the inexperienced Willians Astudillo at second base, kind of right in front of where Brandon Nimmo was running, the play we alluded to before. And Brandon Nimmo, as Astudillo is going to tag him, hits the deck.
Yeah, and Astudillo low-key kind of made a decent little play despite...
Kind of brilliant.
It was kind of brilliant. He had the ball in his throwing hand, so he tagged Nimmo, who went down to the ground, like we said, kind of sliding, kind of just getting lower, tagged him with the glove, no ball in there, had the ball in his hands, threw it to first, and he did immediately signal, like, I didn't get him.
Yes.
Go ahead and tag him. But here's where it got interesting was that, one, Starling Marte was safe at first because of the attempt.
Ruled out at the moment, though.
Yeah,
ruled out on the field.
And Brandon Nimmo was actually called out on the field on the first initial tag, even though he didn't have the ball in his glove. So this started one of the craziest manager challenges that I've ever seen.
Double challenge.
Buck Showalter masterclass. We've been saying that a lot recently, but Buck has really been just
incredible.
Absolutely on top of the game recently. He's been so sharp. And he double challenges, saying that Brandon Nimmo got called out on a play where he wasn't called out, so he was deceived as a runner.
Deceive the runner.
Yes, which the umpire cannot do. As well as Starling Marte ended up being safe at first. So the Marlins went from getting out of a first and second nobody out situation to now having bases loaded and nobody out. It was absolute chaos. The announcers, even Gary, Ron, and Keith were like, oh my, I've never seen anything like this. And when you have the replay system, you're so used to seeing one play challenge. A double challenge, just I have never seen it before.
I was also going to say about Astudillo, just to give him credit for the baseball instinct there of actually trying to deceive a runner, even though it is something you literally can't do, because if you're playing like in any other baseball league on earth besides Major League Baseball, where you have instant replay and these guys who know everything, like you get away with that, and it's actually double play. If you're in the minor league, that's double play. If you're in like a winter league, that's a double play, and that is the kind of thing that will like change the course of a baseball game. If this inning winds up a man on third and 2 out, there's absolutely there's no way to determine who would have won the game.
It would have been crushing. It would have been crushing to see that opportunity just kind of slip through the cracks, but luckily it didn't. I mean, also the play for Williams Astudillo too. He tried to deceive, literally tried to deceive, but he also was like, tag him.
Yeah.
The umpire screwed up
100%.
everything.
The umpire just not actually being aware of what was going on. It kind of cost Williams Astudillo the shot at a good play, because even if they get Brandon Nimmo out, they call Starling Marte safe at first. Still a very different situation. First and third, 1 out, bases loaded, nobody out.
Yeah, no, the umpiring was not particularly sharp this series throughout the entire thing. Home plate umpiring was a little suspect.
I mean, it's also, we can't even talk about that because it's always kind of like that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I just felt, I'm not a big umpire guy. I think you've learned this from the year plus of doing this podcast now. Any chance I get to rub some dirt into the umpire's face, I'm going to do it, and I'll do it here.
It's a terrible visual.
It ended up being great, though, for the Mets. What an absolute turn of events.
No, because Francisco Lindor comes up next with a home run already in this game, lined up Sandy once again, and laced a double over the center fielder's head. Very similar batted ball to where he put it over in the first inning. All three guys came around to score. Funny moment where it looked like Starling Marte read the ball a little bit better than Nimmo. Yeah. Also needed a better jump to score from first. Then Nimmo did need to score from second. And the two fastest guys in the team are suddenly running like step for step with each other around third base. And a good throw home from the Marlins cutoff. I think that was Astudillo actually on the cutoff. Yeah. No, it's not a second baseman. Just completely sailed it over Jacob Stallings, allowed both of them to get in safely. When realistically, there could have been a situation there where it was like the Dodgers from 2006. Where a good throw kind of maybe would have got both of them out. But
and that would have also been crushing
horrifying.
To the ending. Would have been absolutely crushing. Yeah, Nimmo didn't get the best read on the ball off the bat, but it's also impressive to see that we got in such a lucky scenario, too, because Nimmo and Marte are the two fastest players on this New York Mets team. If it's anybody else, I mean, Marte cannot possibly score.
I just said that.
Did you?
I did.
Did I blank out on that? Because I was thinking about the Dodgers play.
No, it's fine. Sometimes just think about Paulo Duca and your mind goes somewhere.
Yeah, Paulo Duca. I got an autograph of Paulo Duca.
Really? I did too.
Signature moments in Westfield.
Grew up around the corner from my dad in Gravesend, Brooklyn. Same block.
Hey, nice.
Crazy.
Shout out to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brooklyn. But yeah, that was the way that the Mets offensive rally kind of got started, and they really just kind of held it tough the entire game once they got that lead. Now we do have to talk about Taijuan, though, because Taijuan really, we talked about how great his last appearance was. He just keeps on pitching so well.
Chugging.
He's a beast. He's a bulldog again.
He is. And when you get 5 runs in Marlins Park, that's usually enough. The Marlins in Marlins Park are almost never going to be able to beat that number. I don't think they beat it once this series.
I don't think so, no.
No, yeah. But got to talk about Taijuan Walker because, once again, quite good. Him, along with Peterson, who we'll talk about, and Bassitt, these guys really stepping up in the wake of the Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom injuries. This wasn't like a monster like Taijuan performs. Like, this was not as good as his last 2 starts.
No, yeah.
But it's really hard to like face the same team twice in a week and be able to shut them down consecutively. We even saw that with the other guy in this game, Sandy Alcantara. But 6 innings from Taijuan, 8 hits that he scattered around, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, 3 earned runs. One of those earned runs was inherited from Drew Smith. We'll talk about him in a moment. But this is just broken record. But guys, the split change and the slider all over it. Those two pitches made up 56% of Taiwan's pitches on Friday. 30% whiffs. The guy's a whole new pitcher. He's incredible.
Whole new guy. I mean, he looks so good. And we even saw a little bit of a change. You thought at first that maybe he was attempting to hide the baseball a little bit better, but it ended up that we've seen in the past him use more of a traditional windup where he's squared up with home plate when he starts. Now he kind of takes that Tylor McGill. We've seen Noah Syndergaard do it in the past. The sidestep where he's basically in the stretch but does the windup in a sort of kind of different way. And it seems to be working. It seems it's a really easy way for him to keep his mechanics simple and be able to repeat things over and over again. A lot less movement, which is something that you see a lot of big pitchers do.
Yeah, as a very big guy, just like Tylor McGill, just like Noah Syndergaard. And if that is just one of the many things that Jeremy Hefner has added to Taijuan Walker, changed to Taijuan Walker, helped him develop better, just got to give all the credit to the god, Hef. But again, Taijuan, great. He's been a steadying force in this rotation. Another very good start.
Huge while we have DeGrom and Scherzer and McGill on the bend on the IL.
And look at us going through tape. Tape guys.
Tape guys. We're with the Mets now. We got to be tape guys.
Well, we're always tape guys.
We're official now.
This thing did get kind of hairy, though, in the 7th inning because the Mets did try to extend Taijuan and get him through that 7th inning. And we actually had a conversation about this in the new Messed Up group chat between me, Mark, and producer John, who's hanging out right here. In that moment, you kind of see a Marlins order. You're at the bottom of it, not that impressive bottom of the order. And the top of the order is significantly less impressive because Jazz Chisholm, like we said before, has left the game. So instead of a very powerful second baseman hitting second, you have Willians Astudillo there. I love Willians Astudillo, but he's not exactly a hitter you should fear.
No, Willians Astudillo is not good.
So you leave him in. Maybe if he gets the first batter out, you can kind of cruise through the inning. But he did not get the first batter out. I believe it was Jacob Stallings to the single.
Yeah.
And then you yank him.
Which was the right move.
100%.
I think that was the right move by Buck. That was kind of what we all
exactly
agreed
what we said
in the group chat. That was our census. Was that or consensus?
Not the census.
Not the census. That's something you fill out.
That's
That's
a different
thing. But that was our consensus. Was that as soon as you let someone on, get him out of the game, and Buck yanked him real quick. Drew Change did come in though and kind of got us. He scared us a little bit.
He just didn't really have the command. He didn't have the fastball command. He didn't have the slider command. He was missing bats. He got the 2 strikeouts, but he walked 3 batters, including after he loaded the bases, struck out 2, then walked. I don't remember who it was.
It might have been Garrett Cooper.
It might have been Garrett Cooper. Garrett Cooper's a good little ball player.
I think it was too, because Garrett Cooper's on my fantasy team, and I was like, RBI walk.
There you go. And then got the run in there. So now we're looking at 5-3, place I didn't really want to hang out. Adam Ottavino came in, and this is when we were still super high on Adam Ottavino. I mean, I'm not using any reactionary stuff here, but Adam Ottavino, who I believe for like the 4th or 5th at the time, straight appearance, maybe 6th, did not allow any inherited runners to score, got out of it, and nice and easy from there.
Yeah, no, it really was super easy. We got to see Jimmy Yacobonis come back in later in this game in a big moment up against Pete.
Double foreshadow here because we were giving a lot of credit to Ottavino, who busted up the game on Saturday, and then we're giving a lot of credit to Yacobonis, who busted up the game on Saturday. Ottavino Sunday, my bad.
Yeah, no, Yacobonis.
He's a witch, though. He's a witch.
Yeah, he is a little bit of a witch.
And shout out New Jersey.
His sinker was just absolute. No, that wasn't him. That was Zach Pop, I'm thinking. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Pop. We'll talk about that.
They have a lot of random, just no-name guys that have some witch-like stuff.
That's like the first sign of an organization that's coming together, though. When you just drop in a reliever out of nowhere and he's doing things that got on Pitching Ninja, that is the first step in becoming a good team now.
Yeah. And then we kind of just wrap up this game here with Edwin Díaz being Edwin Díaz, lights out, untouchable.
And Tomas Nido making one of the best plays from a catcher I've ever seen in my life.
Such a sick throw. I don't think it gets played up enough how perfect this throw was. From his knees, he put it in such a spot where Luis Guillorme literally caught it on the guy's head, which was exactly where it needed to be because of how good of a jump he got stealing the base.
Tomas Nido threw this ball to second base 73 miles an hour from his knees.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive.
To tag out John Birdy, who has, I believe, 21 for his last 21. One of the longest, I think it was the longest streak in Marlins history.
Yeah, no, John Birdy is he's a fast man.
We could trade for him, right?
I would love to get John Birdy. Just even to get him away from playing us.
Yeah.
Be fine to
trade for him, send him down.
Send him down, you never play again.
Not actually, because he's actually playing very well this year. He's an incredible ball player. But also shout out to Guillorme on this play. Blocked the bag.
Yes.
Took a spike. Full speed from John Birdy, who's a big fan of the feet first slide.
Loves feet first.
Not a big head first slide guy. Maybe he had a finger issue or a wrist issue or a shoulder issue from back in his day. But Luis Guillorme blocking the bag, just ate it. Wow, hit the mic. Ate a spike on his foot, got the tag down, changed the inning. Edwin easy, move along.
Move along. And that was the end of game 1. We don't lose 3 straight, and the Mets take the first game of the series. Now on to game 2. We got Chris Bassitt, who's been great for us recently. Just a great starting pitcher going up against Trevor Rogers, who we saw last week. Had one of his better starts of the year against the Mets, so it was interesting to see what the Mets would do against him, seeing him for a second time this season. And just like the Mets kind of have done all year, got ahead real early.
Scored first with a Pete Alonso home run, which I believe was the shortest home run of his entire career.
If it's not the shortest, it's one of the shortest.
Yeah.
It was the cheapest home run Pete Alonso's ever hit. It snuck over the fence, which is something we don't really ever get to say about Pete Alonso, but I don't care. This guy hits 450 home runs. They count as one. He can get a cheap one every once in a while.
Yes, and then not long after that, we had Marte and Lindor back-to-back hits, a Mark Hanna RBI ground ball, and our producer John gave us a great stat. Mark Hanna has had 11 opportunities this year to drive in a runner from third with less than 2 outs, and he's completed that task 8 times. 8 for 11.
Marky Cheerios, he's there for you when you need him.
It's like 83%.
So much fiber. It's
Yes.
unbelievable.
And then Eduardo Escobar, maybe off the schneid for a half a second, a 2-out RBI single, one of the few times we got a clutch hit like that all series.
And to be fair, this fills in right to what I talked about last episode.
Narrative.
Getting on my soapbox. Eduardo Escobar against left-handed pitching does well. He can swing the bat a heck of a lot better against the lefties, and he showed it nice and early in this game with that 2-out RBI.
Absolutely. I think there was also a J.D. Davis walk mixed in there. He also better against lefties.
Better against lefties for sure. But that being said, Marlins hopped right back. Chris Bassitt, a little bit of trouble with the home run ball this game, I would say. This year, I guess, in general. Jesus Sanchez hit a absolute bomb of a home run, and he's a strong young guy.
I'm kind of excited to watch Jesus Sanchez develop because just as a baseball fan, like you see the foundation here for a real player.
And he actually plays a decent center field, better than I thought he would.
And he could play a very good right.
Yeah, because that's what he is. He's a right fielder, but his center field, especially in that big ballpark, wasn't too bad. Absolutely crushed it. And then Brian De La Cruz.
Killer.
We were due. We know Brian De La Cruz has basically only ever hit well in the majors against the New York Mets.
Rat?
He's probably on the rat list.
He's moving in. He's moving around.
Maybe he's up there. I don't think he's John Birdie level just yet. But my goodness, Brian De La Cruz, a guy who we should never have to worry about, seemingly is a thorn in our side.
Continuously a thorn in our side. And this also has kind of continued on a trend of Chris Bassitt giving up more home runs than I think anyone who would pay attention to Bassitt in the past had been accustomed to. He's been mostly awesome. I'm giving him a lot of credit, but he's already allowed 13 home runs this year, and that's going up against 15 he allowed all of last year.
And to be fair, I think that could do with the fact that he played in Oakland. That's like one of the hardest ballparks to hit a home run.
Well, we're talking about Citi Field and Marlins Park here too.
True, but I think Oakland just in general though has really really bad numbers. You also have some bigger parks out there in the AL West. You also have the Houston Astros Park, which is, as we know,
very easy to hit home runs.
Yeah, very easy to hit home runs. But I mean, this isn't any cause of concern for us. This is more of a
pointing things out.
Look at this. Look at this stat we got.
Yeah, because Chris Bassitt kind of with those home runs being allowed is kind of allowing them a little bit more frequently to left-handed batters. 8 of those 13 home runs are against lefties in significantly less at-bats. And if you look down the slugging percentage for Bassitt versus lefties and righties, you're looking at 476 against lefties versus 305 against righties. So that's a difference between like Elvis Andrus and Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
In terms of slugging percentage.
Really good hitter, a guy who's barely a major leaguer.
Basically there. So that is something to keep an eye on, but it's hard to kind of say if that is troublesome or if that's just like bad luck early because Chris Bassitt's home run per fly ball rate, which is like exactly as it sounds, the rate of fly balls that do wind up over the fence is 14.3%, which is a few ticks higher than league average. So I think it is something to give us a little bit of pause because as we get deeper into the summer, we've noticed the run environment changing a little bit from what we were used to early in the season, whether it's getting warmer, humidor's doing different things to the baseballs. So maybe it's something to just take note of, not something to be concerned with, but if Chris Bassitt steps up to the long ball, something we got to pay attention to. But otherwise, another awesome start for Bassitt. 7 innings, 5 strikeouts, 3 earned, and no walks. Chris Bassitt, again, John told us this one, hasn't walked more than 3 in any start this year.
That's so sick.
Amazing.
That's so sick. Maybe you can attest to this too as a fan, and I'm sure you guys feel this. Watching a pitcher walk someone is like maybe top 5 most frustrating things that can happen in a baseball game. It doesn't really matter when it even happens. Just seeing a walk, it's just like grinds my gears. Free 90s. Free 90s are no good.
It's like missing free throws. It's like holding penalties on third down. It's just those things. You're like, why are you giving him a shot here?
Yeah.
Also, this was the 3rd consecutive start for Bassitt that he pitched into the 7th inning. every single start since that San Diego blow-up, he has gone into the 7th inning. And one of those completing 8.
And
good on Bassitt.
You know what, too? We talked about the home run problem. The reason it probably also hasn't really hit too hard is because he doesn't walk guys. There just aren't a whole lot of guys on base, so there are a lot of solo shots, which
good point.
We see a guy like Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander do that in their career. I'm not saying Chris Bassitt is those guys, but you can give up the long ball and not really get burned by it.
Yes, and Bassitt has been adept at doing that. But this game was still tied heading into the 8th inning, as well as Bassitt pitched, and as much as it felt like we got to Trevor Rogers early. But who else besides Pete Alonso to break the tie once again, solo home run in the 8th to give us the lead. The at-bat after he popped up with bases loaded, nobody out, and snapped his bat over his knee.
Yeah, that was to Zach Pop. So this is where I was talking about Zach Pop, who came into the game and was throwing 99 with incredible run on his sinker, something I'd never seen him do before. He pitched the game of his life, shut down the Mets in an inning where they had a chance to rally. But like you said, Pete ended up getting the second home run. This one, not a cheapie.
No,
this
crushed.
was an absolute bomb.
It's so crazy that in one baseball game, a player can hit 2 home runs and snap a bat over his knee.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. It would have to happen literally in this exact order.
I think Buck talked about it either before the game or after the game, just talking about Pete Alonso's the mental side of the game for him, and was basically giving him major props as he's a guy who's not satisfied. He wants to continue to make an impact for this team, and that's something you love to hear for a guy who is, I don't want to call the leader of this team, because I don't necessarily feel like this team has a one single leader.
He's like the spiritual leader.
Yes, but he is definitely the guy that I feel like kind of rides the tide here. If he's feeling well, the team's feeling well.
And that also is consistent with everything we heard about Pete in the offseason, working with the coaches very diligently, trying to improve his approach, trying to improve his plate discipline, and have this real, true desire to get on the level of the guys who win MVPs.
He doesn't want to just be a guy who hits 40, 50 home runs. He wants to be a guy who also hits close to 300, which he's somehow doing it this year for a guy who does have the elite power like he does. You just don't see that too often.
300 is crazy. I think right now the National League has 2 or 3 hitters hitting 300. Yes. So that's crazy. But like just him being, last year we said 260 was the number, the 20% strikeout rate. He killed both of those. This year, if he can be like an 18% K rate with 270, that is the level at which we're getting MVP.
MVP. I love saying it. People on Twitter also get so mad.
Oh, every Cardinals fan.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially when I retweet the Mets up tweets about Pete being the MVP, because I do have a few Cardinal followers. They take the bait every single time. Like, oh, Paul Goldschmidt exists. It goes, yeah, no one's saying he doesn't. We're excited about Pete Alonso being an MVP candidate for this team.
Absolutely. One of these teams is like 7 games over 500, and the other one's like 20 games over 500. So it's a little different.
Yeah, Pete Alonso, MVP. Vote for him. Vote for the Mets for the All-Star Game, too. That's going to be my plug this episode. There are not enough Mets starting right now.
I think there's actually none.
Yeah, there's none that are starting right now. And only I think 1 or 2 that would be getting into the final vote when you get to do the starters again.
We have 3. Jeff is close, Pete is close, Lindor is close, as expected.
Yes.
But keep moving, keep pushing.
Voting. Just stuff the ballot.
5 a day.
5 a day, stuff the ballot with all
5 a
Mets.
day, and if you make up a new email, 10 a day.
Yeah, and if you make up a second new email, 15 a day.
Now, every single Mets fan, everyone listens to this podcast, 15 a day. You're looking at like over 4 million votes a day.
I mean, the Royals back in 2015 had Omar Infante start the game at second base.
The Blue Jays are doing it this year. Santiago Espinal, who's a good little player.
Santiago's a great player.
Good little player,
but yes, stuff the ballot box. Anyway, enough of the All-Star voting. Let's finish up this game here. Lugo came in the 8th inning.
Also, Brandon Nimmo, RBI double, insurance run, and then Lugo came in before that. I don't know why I jumped on that Nimmo thing.
It's okay. You were excited to talk about Brandon Nimmo because Brandon Nimmo had a great series.
Great series. Great ball player.
He's a really good ball player. But yeah, Lugo came in, looked sweet in his first appearance after his wife gave birth to his child.
Also, I heard this. I think Howie said it. Apparently, John can correct me here if I'm wrong, but I heard that Lugo actually wound up missing the birth, getting stranded at either the airport in Atlanta or something along the way. Maybe fact check me on that, but I feel like I remember Howie saying something.
Seth.
He did miss it. Yeah, right. And how terrible is that?
That's
pain.
That's
awful.
Got to be crushing.
You need a strongly worded letter to whatever airline was responsible for that one.
Yeah, I'm sure they heard from the Lugo estate.
I know the airline's not doing well right now. Can't stand them.
Edwin Díaz ended up coming in the 9th inning, and of course, Edwin Díaz was disgusting again. I mean, he actually was untouchable. He K'd the side.
This was one of the best innings I've ever seen Edwin pitch. It was a strikeout the side. It took like 16 pitches, which is kind of classic Edwin. 102.6 though? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the 103 popped up on the broadcast.
I lost my mind.
The booth didn't even flinch. I don't know if that's a credit to Edwin Díaz just being so sick that this is almost expected. No one's surprised anymore, or the fact that they didn't even realize that he threw 103. I know you said 102.6, but Yeah, he was zipping. It might have been a little bit of a hot gun, too, in Miami, just because all the guys now that I'm thinking about. But I don't care. He came up 102.6. We'll take that. Edwin Díaz, maybe the best closer in baseball. I'm getting really close to starting to say that.
That's not true. It was his fastest pitch of the year. John, do you know if that was one of the fastest of his career? I'm sure it has to be top 5 fastest of his career. I know when he came up, he was really hitting like the 102, 103 regularly.
Yeah, no, he's thrown absolute gas. I really do think it was the fastest pitch of his career, but I don't know. Is it really that important for us to get that exactly right? We'll end up figuring it out. Oh, you guys gotta know.
You can keep going.
Okay.
We'll come back to it.
Well, now that we have this cut, I'll just let it. Yep, no problem.
Do I have to keep the streamer open on this? Like, what's the purpose of this?
Just so he can hear us.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I got 8% here, so.
Okay. I can unmute this then, and you can hear us from there. Here, mute your StreamYard real quick.
Nope, can't do
You
that.
have to turn off your sound.
Me?
Yeah, no, just leave it how we had it.
Okay. I'm gonna try and run through this. I could probably get through an 8%. Probably be a bang play, but.
Oh, where's the charger at?
It's in my bag. I'm not taking it out.
I'll use mine.
Okay, grab it.
Oh, he said fast.
All right, how are we gonna jump back in?
So we got confirmation it was indeed the fastest pitch of Edwin Díaz's career. Shout out to Edwin. He's been so money this year. And we win game 2. We win the series right here in the first 2 with a chance for a sweep going into game 3.
Yeah, when you have that opportunity for the sweep and you're looking at it, you want it so bad, especially in a weekend where the Dodgers are playing the Braves. You know you have a shot to grab another game on them. You're right on it.
Yeah, no, and game 3, it was an interesting one. So that'll be the cut for the break.
I'll go. Especially interesting because this was one of the Peacock games, and there was a big constituency of Mets fans online that were frustrated by the fact that it was not that easy to watch this game.
Yeah, it wasn't easy to find the game on Peacock. A little bit tough, especially I think the free trial thing didn't necessarily work for some people. I hope they can fix that because the presentation, the broadcast was fine. I think
it's so crisp.
I prefer SNY.
By a lot.
I prefer Gary, Keith, and Ron, the best in the biz. But
Yeah.
I think in terms of national broadcasts, it was a perfectly acceptable one.
And I do think there are a lot of Peacock games this year where they have had like a great booth and ready for it. I remember, I think it was a Phillies game from a few Sundays ago. I just remember them having a lot of colorful characters in the booth. This one, it was okay. Maybe it was just the fact that it had a big Saturday night and this game kind of lulled a little bit with a noon start. But, you know, it was fine.
We kind of lacked that Mets guy. I know Cliff Floyd, I think, was supposed to be our Mets guy. Tommy Hutton, I think, was the Marlins. But Jason Benetti did a great job. But he's a White Sox guy. So it's a little tough when we're used to hearing, real Mets fans talking about the Mets.
Cliff Floyd was a Marlin, too, as well.
He was a Marlin
He might have played almost as much, if not more, as a Marlin than he did the Mets.
They showed him in a Marlins jersey many times on the broadcast. So
that is funny.
I actually don't even know if the Mets really even had a representative in there. Not really the biggest thing that mattered to me. What I do like, though, about the Peacock games, though, that noon start time is fantastic.
It's not bad. You really get that game out of the way. Getting an hour and a half on the other games, you feel like you can relax a little bit. Also, maybe if the ending would have been different, it would have been more relaxing, better way to drift into Sunday. But I don't hate the noon start at all.
No, I don't hate the noon start at all. And it felt like the Mets didn't hate the noon start either because Brandon Nimmo, right from the rip, double right off the bat, and he smoked it for the third hardest hit ball of his career at 111.2 miles an hour.
Yes, and that was the 4th time Brandon Nimmo's career he'd hit a ball in play of at least 111 miles an hour. And get this, all 4 of those have come since last August.
So he figured out something in August.
He's getting strong.
Saw that home run against the Marlins too late in the year as well. So Nimmo starting to hit the ball a little bit harder. He just had like a phenomenal series.
Yeah,
overall.
The at-bat after this, Brandon Nimmo laced a solo home run. So the first 4 pitches Brandon Nimmo saw in this game were ball, double, home run.
Which is so unlike Brandon Nimmo to only see 4 pitches and 2 at-bats.
But also not swinging the bad one.
Yes, not swinging a bad one, which is great. He's so good. He's so good.
He's such a good baseball player.
I don't know how many times we have to say it. He's great. It seems like he's feeling a little bit healthier too because we know he went through that little bit of a rough patch. It seems like he's starting to get back into the groove of things.
He's also just put himself on like an elite tier of leadoff hitters. Like there are not 5 leadoff hitters, I don't know. And I'm saying this off the cuff right now. I haven't gone through all 30 teams in my head, but I can't think of that many leadoff hitters I'd rather have over him.
Yeah, I mean, like Mookie Betts, who's like one of the 5 best players in baseball.
I guess technically Trey Turner.
Acuna, like
for sure.
You're naming the 10 best players in baseball right now. You just named 3 of them.
Here's a crazy one. I don't know your answer, but it's like Springer.
Yeah, like maybe for power-wise.
You could make an argument, though, either way there.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. But Brandon Nimmo is 100% in that conversation.
Altuve.
An elite leadoff hitter in Major League Baseball.
Fantastic. But in that first inning, we got too excited about Brandon Nimmo. We wound up with first and second, nobody out, and did not score a run. And that kind of felt like a bit of a bad omen for what was going to happen.
Yeah, we spoke about this on the podcast before. Anytime we get that rally in the first and can't score runs, it usually means something bad.
You text me in that moment. We're done.
Yeah, I said, don't like this. That's not a good sign. And boy, were we right, because John Birdie on the other side led off the inning. Was it the first pitch he saw too?
Yeah, a quick pitch soon.
Quick.
Early in the at-bat.
Yeah, early in the at-bat. Blooped a double because, of course, John Birdie does, because he is such a thorn in our side. I do not like John Birdie unless he's a part of the Mets.
But I respect him.
I respect him, though. I will respect him. But, that bloop in the first inning really made me go, this isn't going to be an easy game against Daniel Castano today.
No, and then also because the Marlins got him home after that. And we actually did jump kind of back out. Took the lead in the third inning on that Nimmo home run that we mentioned to tie the game. And then Pete Alonso with the funniest, cheapest, strangest, most bizarre double I've seen in a very long time, with hilariously Jazz Chisholm on the mic, kind of saying that Pete ran like a polar bear.
Yeah, and they were making fun of how he slid.
Yeah.
To be fair, the slide was not graceful by any means.
No, and this ball was 51 miles an hour off the bat, traveled an incredible 133 feet, and included Pete basically banging his face into the ground.
Couple GPs for Pete this weekend.
Yeah. Actually, there was a play I forgot to mention in game 2 that the slide made me remember. The Lindor slide into second. Or was that today? That was Sunday.
No, that was today.
That was Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, I guess talk about it later then.
We'll just keep going. The Mets had a chance to get more runs this inning. They ended up not getting any. They did leave some more guys on. And this was a little bit of a weird theme for this series, was that the Mets struggle with runners in scoring position. And I think a big reason why is that the lineup, which normally has Jeff McNeil come up in these spots, was now having Eduardo Escobar or even Luis Guillorme, who is still playing great. Still love Luis, but he can't get a hit every time either. And even James McCann coming up in these last 2 games, because we forgot to mention McCann played in the last 2 games.
Yeah, he came back
series.
activated for Saturday. Or activated on Friday, but started playing on Saturday.
But the Mets struggle with runners in scoring position. I'm just getting the stat here real quick for you
McCann
guys.
also scored the big run on Saturday. I remember him hoofing around the bases.
He was hoofing.
Yeah, he was moving.
He was moving. But the Mets for this series were 4 for 27 with runners in scoring position, which was not very good. And in this game, 1 for 13. Not great.
And the only hit was that Pete Alonso hit, like I said, that was 51 miles an hour off the bat and traveled 133 feet.
So I don't know what it was, but Daniel Castano was able to lock down the Mets, especially when he bared down with runners in scoring position.
But this is also something that we talked about a lot last season when we were trying to wonder what is RISP. But RISP is, at some point, it's a bit of a nonsense like stat statistically. Like, it's not that, I can't find the word for it right now, but it's a lot of randomness that goes into just getting hits, especially getting hits with certain men on base. We've seen the Mets excel in it this year because they put the ball in play a lot, have, I believe, the highest batting average in all of baseball still.
I think so, yeah.
But it's just kind of, some days those balls drop in and some days those don't drop in. And that's kind of, this was a series where they didn't really drop in that much. But we're being a little negative now about the lineup. I do want to give a little tip of the cap to David Peterson, who continues to be amazing, taking us 2 or 3 steps forward, I'd say, this year.
Really, really, really good. I feel like the last few episodes that we've had where he's made an appearance or made a start, we've been praising him and been super excited, but we've kind of tried to be calm, keep it level-headed. But it feels like this was a start where everything kind of culminated into David Peterson might just be real good.
And there were moments early in this game, and happened kind of throughout, where he was like, it felt like he was yanking some of his pitches, like missing high or missing low with a slider. But also we have to keep in mind that Peterson's wife has been like on the doorstep of giving birth for almost an entire week. And I can't even imagine what that is doing to his psyche and what's going through his mind every single time. He's made 2 starts since they were like, his wife's about to give birth. 2 starts!
Yeah,
Monday and Sunday.
Our first episode with the Mets, we were talking about David Peterson possibly not even making that start because his wife should have been having a baby.
And now it's Sunday and it still hasn't happened yet. So shout out Ms. Peterson. Really hope we get a healthy delivery there soon. But Peterson, 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, 2 earned, no walks. Going back for his last 2 starts, 12 in the 3rd inning, 15 strikeouts, only 2 earned runs, and just 2 walks over that last 12 in the 3rd innings. And I'm saying it, guys, this slider that David Peterson has worked to develop over the last few years, throwing it a little bit more now, it is so ridiculous, along with the fact that he's throwing 4-seam fastballs high in the zone with sliders low in the zone. I put the little illustrator from Savant up of his pitch chart after this game. Sliders low, fastballs high. He has a plan. He's executing that plan. That slider had 9 whiffs, 43% whiff rate. He's so good right now, and him with this repertoire, it makes me think that there is a chance, depending on if we get like all like the best case scenario, like 90th percentile outcome for all of our pitchers the rest of the year, he could be a dominant like long reliever bullpen arm at some point.
Oh, he would have immense value if his
look like Andrew Miller.
But he also might be in a scenario where he stays in the starting rotation. He keeps pitching like this and giving us 7 innings.
I'm only saying that because I think he has one of the repertoires in this rotation right now that lends itself the most to being successful out of the bullpen, especially the fact that we do need a lefty there.
You love throwing guys in the bullpen.
I just think if you pitch a guy for 3 innings instead of 7, stuff's gonna be better. And
of course,
And if all of these starters come back, we have to bump somebody.
I guess that's fair.
Somebody has to be bumped.
Yeah, he probably is the lowest on the totem pole, but
he's also a lefty.
Let me tell you, the dude is.
He's awesome. He's so good. I'm
been
so happy
good.
with him.
Don't even worry about
Hefner, baby.
where he's going to go in the rotation right now. Just be happy that this guy's pitching every 5 days.
Yeah, I was just saying that being,
Yeah, the way he has been, like you said, this slider is a game changer. Watching it on TV now for the 5th, 6th start of the year where it's really been, hammering it home. It's just a really, really hard pitch to hit. Pitching Ninja's giving him love.
Yes.
When you're on Pitching Ninja, you know you're doing something right.
And he's able to throw it successfully against righties and lefties. That's what's separating him with this pitch. It's unbelievable. I think that is where development has come the most because he's very long, relied on his changeup, which is still, I think, a decent pitch.
It's fine.
In terms of everything else, but the fact that this slider has become a weapon against players from both sides of the plate, it gives him very little to no weaknesses.
No.
And that's the guy, David Peterson, who we've had choice words for in this podcast. Between his development, between any decision made around him, there was a lot. But that was it. And I do want to mention, though, that your boy, Miguel Rojas,
Another Met killer,
hit a home run to tie this game. First home run that Peterson's allowed to a righty all year using that slider low and in, back foot. But that was kind of tough. And from that moment on, this game lulled at the tie.
Yeah, really lulled. The broadcast was oogling over Miguel Rojas' home run as if the greatest shortstop in baseball.
Team leader.
Yeah, team leader. They were talking about how great he was. I was like, all right, let's calm down. He has a 700 OPS this year. He's playing fine baseball.
Actually, 700 OPS is better than league average.
He's playing fine.
So that's not,
He's playing fine.
That wasn't like an insult or anything.
No, but they were acting as if he was the
Probably got like a 110 OPS plus.
They were acting like he's the MVP in the making right here, Miguel Rojas, with that home run and how big it was for this Marlins team. He hit this
hey, get him back. You need one. Turn it around.
You were right. This game lulled and lulled and lulled, and just nothing kind of happened until we got to the 9th, where Adam Ottavino's in the game, and he's been so good.
So good.
He's been great.
So great.
But the inning started off a little bit weird. Started off a little crazy. Got some hard balls put into play. Luis Guillorme made one of the best catches I've ever seen an infielder make in my entire life. Full Superman dive layout, caught it with the tip of his glove. And this guy just continues to be a wizard in the field.
He also had an inning on Saturday where there were back-to-back ground balls over the back that he just went over them and just got it to first base easily.
It's like not even surprising anymore. Like he makes the play and I go, yeah, that's Luis. Of course Luis Guillorme made it. The guys, of course, national broadcasters, they don't watch. I'm sure Jason Benetti, he's busy watching the White Sox.
Yeah.
He was flabbergasted. And that's, to be fair, that was the appropriate reaction to have on this play because it was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, we're approaching a point where, like us Mets fans, we know Luis Guillorme very well now, but he's probably one of the better kept secrets in baseball.
100%.
Yeah.
He's a fantastically kept secret. He's such a secret he's not on the All-Star ballot. Write him in, Luis Guillorme for All-Star game.
Third base, DH, catcher, I believe you're allowed to write him in for. Write him in anywhere you can.
But right after this catch, I mean, not even a pitch or two later, I don't remember because it was just, it happened in a blur. Nick Fortes just absolutely smokes a hanging slider from Adam Ottavino.
Happens.
And tip the cap, Mets lose this game, walk-off home run. It stunk because the Mets should have beat Daniel Castano and the Marlins bullpen and Stephen Okert and all these random guys that they threw out there.
Okert's actually nice.
Yeah, but they're all random.
No, but that's because the Ram does not mean they're good. That's how relievers work. The shelf life is unbelievable. They're like fruit flies.
Yeah, exactly. They're like fruit flies. Why couldn't he be a fruit fly this game and stink? But
Well, I'm saying fruit fly is the fact that they come quickly and they leave fast.
Whatever. I'm not going to give the Marlins bullpen as much credit as you are, but
That's the first step when you see a team figuring it out, that they have guys like Stephen Okert pop out of nowhere and Jimmy Yacobonis throwing 14-inch breaking two-seam fastballs.
Zach Pop all the other days.
Zach Pop throwing 98 miles an hour. 2 years ago I told you about Zach Pop. He just had 8 miles an hour velocity.
Yeah, you got lucky with that one. There was no reason for
Pulled it.
Zach
I like the
Pop.
slider. I like the slider.
Marlins, they've had a lot of really, really close games this year. They're actually tied for the most walk-off losses. So, I mean, they got one here, and
That could also be a function of like road games versus home games.
well, they were saying that they play a lot of really close one-run games in general.
Because they pitch pretty well.
They pitch all right. They
They
pitch
pitch
pretty well.
That's exactly
They
what
also
I said.
don't score a lot of runs.
No, exactly. That's why you get a lot of walk-off situations. But overall, you can't really be that upset with this series. Like, guys played well. Also, we didn't talk about it. I want to shout out that Francisco Lindor slide. I don't remember what day it happened. It's been, again, a long weekend. It's been 2 boroughs and 2 states today. Him just swim moving, like Supermaning out of the way of the Jazz Chisholm tag was crazy.
Yeah, that was on Saturday.
That was Saturday because Jazz was
Saturday's
playing.
game, yeah.
Such a sweet, cool, chill play. Hit his face on the ground, too. It was kind of funny. But
Marlins couldn't win a single challenge. They challenged, I feel like, every play of this series and lost every single one of them. Their replay guy, horrible. Our replay guy, great. Buck was giving mad props to the replay guy after the double challenge.
Replay analyst? Nice. I love that. That's also when you're losing challenges. That's kind of the sign of a coach who's losing his way.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Don Mattingly supporter.
That's like, there's one NFL, what's his name? Nagy. Matt Nagy did it. Like, he had so many bad challenges last year, just being like, I hope they change the call.
Yeah, no, it did not work out well. Mets still win the series, though. Again, I saw some negative discourse still, and it's got to be because the Braves are breathing down our back. But this is a different...
Five is breathing down?
This is a different breathing down our back than in years past. Like, again, last year we talked about it. At this time, we were like 7 games above 500 when the Braves were 5 out. We're 20 games
I think
above
by
500.
this time last year, this Mets team was already really floundering.
Yeah, they were starting to. They were starting to,
like, in the middle of May.
They were 7 games above 500, I know.
On this exact day,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, I know for a fact. It was 7 or 6 games. So it was like a lot different than being 20 games over 500 like the Mets currently are. Don't worry about the Braves. Worry about the Mets. The Mets won 2 of 3. That's a good series for them. It could have been great, though.
And there's also a situation where it was a bad RISP series. I don't even like saying that word. Just sometimes the balls drop and sometimes they don't. That's the nature of the statistic. And I'm confident that the way this team's hit this year, that good things will happen eventually.
And I hope that they continue to hit going into this next series because the Astros are coming to town for a 2-game series. Thank goodness. After having a 4-game series with the Yankees in which they split.
A hot 2-game series.
They had
a 4-game series.
16 innings where the Yankees didn't get a hit in a row.
And they still found ways to lose 2 games?
Yeah, the pitching has been unbelievable. So we just saw them recently. We saw them last week. We know this isn't going to be an easy series. One of the better teams in all of baseball, but just like the Mets, also one of the better teams in all of baseball. So what are the pitching matchups looking like here? Who are we going to see? Who are we going to smack around? Because I think the Mets bats are going to come alive in Citi Field.
We're going to see one guy we saw last week. Tuesday night is going to be Carlos Carrasco versus Luis Garcia. And Wednesday, I don't know who's going to pitch Wednesday for the Mets, technically, right?
Yeah, I don't think it says Trevor Williams, I think, on ESPN. But yeah, so Max was talking to the reporters. I don't know if it was in Florida or in Miami, wherever it was, but he was stressing, I cannot have a setback. We cannot have a setback.
Okay.
Like,
which is true.
His energy was nuts.
Yes. He was also in the dugout. He was hyping up Lindor on Saturday, too.
Yeah, no, I think this guy is itching to get back. He just wants to make sure it's right so that he doesn't have to ever miss any more time with this team.
Yeah, I don't really want him to at all. So I guess that probably will be Trevor Williams then.
Yeah, probably
But
Williams.
there was an off day, so we can operate with 4 pitchers.
We could in theory.
Yeah,
we could in theory. See what the Mets do with these arms. It'll always be interesting.
And that game's going to be against Framber Valdez, who is hilarious.
Ground ball machine.
I love Framber Valdez. He's apparently also like a really flamboyant guy. Like he dresses like in crazy stuff. He has a lot of fun. He's got high energy. He just goes out there and throws bowling ball sinkers over and over again until you pound him into the ground.
His story is also really interesting too because he was a prospect in the Astros. I don't know, in the Astros, whatever organization he was in. It was probably the Astros.
I think it was always Astros.
But he was struggling. He was having a hard time pitching, and he ended up getting a sports psychologist.
Really?
And the sports psychologist cleared his brain.
Nice.
And that's what really he credits for his career taking off, was being able to master the mental side. He always had the physical ability as a pitcher, but the mental side had always been tough for him. And ever since then, Framber Valdez has low-key been one of the better pitchers in baseball.
He gets ground balls at such a rate that it's almost impossible for you to do legitimate damage against him. 69% ground balls on the year.
Nice.
6 innings pitched and 11 straight starts. Going back over 3 years, the guy is a horse. I think he's one of the few pitchers in baseball averaging 6 innings pitched going back to 2000. I had this tweet from like a month ago on the first pitch when I used to do that podcast.
Throw 6 innings a lot.
He just, it's hard to do damage against him. He keeps the ball down. He doesn't let you lift it. And he just pounds the zone.
Jeremy Pena will also be back for the Astros in this series.
Exciting young shortstop.
He's sick. He's unbelievable.
He looks like a running back. He's so strong. Like, his neck is like, why are you playing baseball?
Extremely talented. Would have loved to have seen him miss a little bit. I would have loved to have seen a little more Mauricio Dubon.
Yeah, I think he'll still mix in this series.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Yeah, he'll find a way.
This Astros team, though, we just saw them. We know how good they are. They are one of the best teams in baseball, one of the most consistent organizations in baseball. They don't really do a lot of things wrong. The top of their order is ferocious. It is going to be a little interesting to see them play outside Minute Maid, though, this year. Not as easy to get the ball out in right field at Citi Field as it is in Minute Maid Park.
Or left field.
Left field, Citi Field is not the hardest to get out of.
No, it's not the hardest, but Crawford boxes.
Yeah,
To anything
yeah,
is
yeah.
like you're playing in a Little League part. If you're in the area, you really should come to the Astros-Mets series because you get to see Yordan Alvarez, who is one of the best hitters in all of baseball. You get to see an extremely talented team. Kyle Tucker, Michael Brantley, Alex Bregman.
You're also going to look at Jose Altuve, his prime is waning. He is one of the marquee players of our generation. Probably one of the best ratios ever of height to talent that we've ever seen across any sport.
He's pretty ridiculous.
He's unbelievable. He's a great player.
First time back in Queens since 2014, September 2014.
Yeah. And we'll also be at both games.
Yep, we will both be there. So if you see us at the stadium, make sure to say what's up. We are happy to talk to you guys. We appreciate you guys all for listening to the podcast, the Mets Up Podcast, the official podcast of the New York Mets. Still pretty crazy that we do get to say that on a episodial basis. Is that the word? Episodic.
Definitely not episodic.
We're not words people. We're not words guys. We like baseball over here. That's what we're here to talk to you guys about. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Mets Up Podcast. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Odyssey, wherever you get your podcasts, drop us a rating, drop us a review. Follow us on all our social media at Mets Up on Twitter, Instagram, the YouTube. If you're looking for the YouTube videos, they are on the official Mets YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for those. Follow James on Twitter at
James Shiano.
Follow me on Twitter at GiraffeNeckMark. I don't think we have anything else to shout out here, right?
Nothing really. Just got to beat this Astros team. They're one of the best teams in baseball. You want to be one of the best teams in baseball, you got to beat one of the best teams in baseball.
And you know what? I think the Mets do. I think we're going to be all right this series. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next episode after the Astros series. Peace out.
Peace out. See you next time.
Get up. Get up.